It looks like Harry and Meghan have responded to Tom Bower's new book.
He has got them. The Sussexes, Harry and Meghan, know that they have been rumbled. That is the only explanation behind their truly deranged statement, suggesting that Tom Bower, one of Britain's most respected authors, someone who had a long career of revealing the truth about high-profile figures from Mohammed Al-Fayed to Simon Cowell for years before he tackled Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, is somehow a conspiracy theorist.
They stepped out with a sharp public attack and instantly turned up the heat. Harry and Meghan publicly labeled investigative journalist Tom Bower as deranged, and that one word sent everything into overdrive. Because the reaction didn't take days, it happened immediately. Before the book even officially dropped, it shot straight to #1 on Amazon. Instead of shutting the story down, that statement pushed it straight into the spotlight.
It's just another example of how Meghan is so incredibly desperate for publicity, especially positive publicity. She'll trample over anyone to try and achieve it.
Then there is the brand new extract released in the past few hours in the Times newspaper. This is about how Meghan put herself first. And this is where we really get into the current strains in the couple's marriage. But Tom Bower actually starts by rewinding back, Brittany, to 2022. And do you remember this appearance at the One Young World event where Meghan was totally humiliated because she just spoke about herself constantly? And there's an amazing line where Ella Robertson, who is the woman who organized this conference, watched Meghan's speech and groaned, "She's fucked it."
Before we continue, please subscribe. A small click for you means everything for this channel. And here's what people aren't fully clocking yet. This isn't just another headline or royal disagreement. This book digs way deeper than recent events. It reaches back into Meghan's past, long before Harry entered the picture. That's the part that's making this situation feel different, because that history hasn't really been in the open like this before. And it brings up one question that keeps getting louder. If the claims are false, why not take legal action? Why not go all the way and challenge it in court? Harry has done it before. He's taken on tabloids, stood in courtrooms, and spoken out about press intrusion. Legal battles are nothing new for him, so why stop here? Because this pattern isn't new either. Back in 2022, when Revenge came out, the reaction looked almost identical. Strong public pushback.
I think personally, they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore.
But no lawsuit followed. Same approach, same outcome. And Tom Bower isn't just another voice throwing out claims for attention. He's a trained barrister who builds detailed, evidence-based work.
Or actually decide to put their money where their mouth is and sue the guy. Meghan and Harry instead ran to their favorite news outlets like GB News and People magazine to release the second in a truly bonkers statement. They said Mr. Bower's commentary has long crossed the line from criticism into fixation. This is someone who has publicly stated the monarchy, in fact, depends on actually obliterating the Sussexes from our state of life, language that speaks for itself. He has made a career out of constructing ever more elaborate theories about people he does not know and has never met. Those interested in facts will look elsewhere. Those seeking deranged conspiracy and melodrama know exactly where to find him.
Over 25 books covering powerful figures, politicians, billionaires, royals, and here's the key part. None of them have successfully taken him to court. That track record speaks loud. Then things escalated even further in Vancouver. During the Invictus Games, a group of supporters surrounded him, cameras rolling, trying to put pressure on him publicly. But that moment didn't land the way they expected, because instead of damaging his credibility, it did the opposite. It placed him directly at the scene, on camera, confirming his presence. That moment turned him into a direct eyewitness, And later, he even pointed out how that worked in his favor. Now look closely at the wording of that statement, because it wasn't random. They claimed his commentary crossed into obsession.
A man who she abandoned for months to the media and now presents her mother, Doria, speaking for the first time, telling outright lies about her ex-husband. I mean, this was a calculated attempt against the families.
But the timeline doesn't support that. One book about them, another project in between, plus a biography about the Beckhams. That's not fixation. That's a journalist doing his job across different subjects. And then comes the word that stands out the most: deranged. That wasn't casually thrown in. That word carries serious weight, especially online. It mirrors language already used by certain groups targeting critics. And once that kind of label is out there, it spreads fast.
Reporting the facts, and the facts terrify Meghan Markle especially. She can't deal with them. She has to live in her delusional fantasy, and she hates anybody who tries to break it. And unfortunately for her, most of the media tries to break it all the time, and she just immensely struggles with that.
Think about the impact of that move. You point a massive online audience toward a 79-year-old journalist and then position him as the threat. That dynamic raises serious questions, because in the UK, the approach is clear. If something is false, you take it to court. If not, you respond publicly and try to manage the narrative. And in this case, it was a statement. At the same time, parts of the book were already being revealed before release. And what's come out so far is just the beginning. One claim that immediately caught attention involved Queen Camilla. According to Bauer, she allegedly told a close friend that Meghan had brainwashed Harry. That's not coming from a random source online. That's tied to someone who has spent decades inside royal life.
Well, you know, Piers, you're the first person to say how limited Prince Harry is, unfortunately, and how his wife trades off her husband's fame and fortune, or not so great fortune now. I mean, this is the problem, but we're still interested because, after all, he's a great character in our modern day.
Then there's the meeting that shifted everything. June 2018, right after the honeymoon, a private conversation at William and Catherine's Kensington Palace apartment. The goal was to ease tensions, but it didn't go that way. According to the account, the situation escalated. William pointed his finger, and Meghan responded directly, "If you don't mind, get your finger out of my face." That moment hit hard inside that room.
Vindictiveness. There was always an element that was there in Harry's personality, but Meghan just magnified that infinitely. And we've all seen the drastic change, how he's given up every single aspect of his life in order to please her.
Because right then, it became clear. This situation wasn't going to be fixed.
And so he became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationships, never thinking that they could have something to do with himself. So he's a very complicated, depressed, unintelligent man who is seeking a role and has got really nobody on whom he could rely, which is in the end where Meghan stepped in. I mean, a needy man met a woman who could help him with his needs.
After that, the separation didn't happen slowly. It happened fast. Harry changed his phone number without informing his family. Longtime friends disappeared from his circle almost overnight. Some didn't even attend the wedding after party, not because they chose to step away, but because the connection was cut. Then comes another major moment. Harry, traveling from California toward Tokyo, reportedly trying to secure funding to support his charity. And during that period, a brand audit was presented to him by Dr. Sophie Chand. The findings were direct and hard to ignore.
Very aggressive PR for the Sussexes. Got way beyond herself because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients. And so I think she got it wrong by leaking it or even letting anyone know about it.
50 major corporations surveyed, and the conclusion was clear. His public image had taken a serious hit. The brand he had built over years had completely collapsed. Meghan was described in a direct quote as a reputational liability. And that label hit harder than anything before it, because this wasn't gossip or opinion. This was coming from inside their own circle.
But I do think that when you're mocked so publicly as they've been, their value begins to nosedive pretty quickly. And I don't think they're finding any more sources of income.
Backed by hard data. And Harry's reaction? Instead of addressing the numbers, he pushed back emotionally, even comparing his situation to Johnny Depp. That comparison raised eyebrows instantly, because while the evidence pointed one way, the response went in a completely different direction. Then, things escalated fast. Just months later, Dr. Sophie Chand was gone. She didn't leave quietly either. She publicly accused Harry of harassment, and not long after that, the charity itself collapsed.
Meghan herself.
And Meghan herself.
In the months before she met Harry, was setting up paparazzi pictures in London. She now acts as if the paparazzi are literally the devil incarnate.
She begged the paparazzi to photograph her, and they wouldn't. And when they did, she says, "Oh, I don't want to, I'm hurt." And that ridiculous story about how they first met, the whole thing was a tissue of inaccuracies, to be polite.
Well, because what do you make of that? Because as you know, Harry was always very insistent.
That entire situation didn't just fade away. It left serious damage behind. And it didn't stop there. Over at Netflix, the numbers told another brutal story. Harry's Polo documentary ranked all the way down at 3,436. That's not underperforming, that's disappearing. Then came the moment that really stung. John Mulaney openly mocked them during a Netflix showcase, right in front of top executives and major Hollywood figures. And Meghan's show, not even mentioned during the keynote, completely ignored. That silence spoke louder than any criticism. So what was the response? Shift the narrative. Cameras up, timing tight. They appeared at wildfire zones, presenting it as support and concern. But the reaction didn't go the way they expected. Filmmaker Justine Bateman came out publicly and said, "They are disaster tourists." That line spread everywhere. Thousands shared it, and suddenly the intention behind those appearances was being questioned heavily. And here's the pattern that keeps repeating. Every attempt to look authentic ends up backfiring. Every move meant to rebuild image ends up creating more doubt. And this is where things start to get uncomfortable, because this is exactly the kind of situation Tom Bower focuses on. Across more than 25 books, his method stays the same. He looks for the parts of the story that people try, the hardest to keep hidden, the uncomfortable details, the unanswered questions, the pieces that don't line up. So the focus shifts. Who was Meghan before Harry? Before the titles, before the global spotlight? She was working as a briefcase model on Deal or No Deal. She later spoke about how much she disliked that role, saying it made her feel reduced to just standing there, waiting to be chosen. At that stage, her career wasn't taking off. Failed pilots, small roles, guest appearances on shows that most audiences barely remember. By standard Hollywood measures, she wasn't a breakout name, not a major star, and not someone expected to reach household recognition through acting alone. Then came Suits, a cable legal drama filmed in Toronto. And that's when things started to shift. And according to Bower's reporting, that's also where a pattern becomes visible. Her first husband, Trevor Engelson, they were together for 7 years, married in Jamaica in 2011, described by friends as a real love story. But once Suits gained traction and she relocated to Toronto, everything changed. Within 2 years, the marriage ended. Reports suggest Engelson was completely caught off guard. He didn't see it coming. Then came Chef Corey Vitiello. 2 years together, living as a couple. And once again, the relationship ended right around the time a new connection entered the picture. This time, an introduction to Harry. And this is the pattern Bower points to repeatedly, across relationships, friendships, and connections. Once a new opportunity appeared, the previous chapter closed quickly, with no return. And beyond relationships, there's another layer that has followed her for years. Long before the royal family, long before global fame, questions were already circulating in Hollywood. Private events, elite circles, connections with wealthy and powerful figures. These weren't public-facing environments. These were spaces most people never see, and here's the key part. Those questions have never been directly addressed in detail. No clear, specific answers. Just silence around certain topics. And that's exactly the kind of gap Bower builds his investigations around. It leads to one central question. How much of the public image is authentic, and how much was carefully shaped over time? But nothing creates more reaction than one specific topic. Archie and Lilibet. Royal author Lady Colin Campbell publicly called for absolute proof that Meghan carried those children herself. That statement alone caused major waves. Then Meghan's father, Thomas Markle, added to it publicly, saying the questions needed answers. Her half-sister, Samantha Markle, also spoke on record, suggesting if surrogacy was involved, it should be openly acknowledged. Even reports from a high-ranking palace courtier, shared with Radar Online, indicated that speculation had been circulating internally for years. Because from the beginning, everything surrounding the children has been handled with extreme privacy. Limited appearances, tightly controlled information, a level of secrecy that has only fueled more questions. And this isn't just public curiosity, there's a legal side to it. Under British royal succession law, surrogacy introduces serious complications regarding a child's place in the line of succession. Archie and Lilibet currently sit 6th and 7th in line. If those circumstances were ever formally challenged, the consequences wouldn't be minor, they would be massive. Then, in June 2025, Meghan posted a video on Instagram, dancing with Harry while visibly showing a baby bump. Many saw it as a direct response to the ongoing speculation, but instead of ending the discussion, it triggered more of it. Critics immediately questioned whether what was shown was natural or artificial, and through all of this, one thing stands out clearly. Neither Harry nor Meghan have ever directly answered these questions. Not once, not in the Oprah interview, not in the Netflix documentary, not in Spare, not anywhere. That question has followed them for years, and still, no direct answer. And that silence, that's exactly what keeps everything alive, because the truth is simple. If there was a clear answer, it would have been given by now. But instead, the silence stretches, and the speculation grows louder every single time. And here's where the timing gets serious. Tom Bower's betrayal focuses directly on the exact period when all of these questions were at their peak. Not random timing, not coincidence. This is targeted. Now shift the focus to what's coming next. Australia, mid-April, just weeks away. Their first visit back in 7 years. The last time they were there, October 2018. Back then, they were still working royals, newly married, everything looked strong. That trip was huge, massive crowds, constant media coverage, and Meghan even announced her pregnancy with Archie while they were there. That was the peak moment. Everything aligned perfectly. But now, the situation looks completely different. A Change.org petition is already gaining traction, demanding that Australian taxpayers don't fund a single dollar of their security. The message is clear. They stepped away from royal duties, so they should be treated as private citizens. And that's exactly what people are pushing for. No special treatment, no public funding, just accountability for the choices they made. And then look at what they're actually going there to do, because this is where things really shift. Meghan is headlining a luxury weekend retreat in Sydney. Ticket prices starting at $2,699. And if you want closer access, a VIP package with a group photo, that jumps to $3,199, limited to just 300 attendees. At the same time, Harry is scheduled to speak at a workplace mental health summit in Melbourne. And that raises another layer of tension, because critics are pointing out the contradiction. This is the same Harry who, according to reports, didn't step in while members of his online fan base targeted Dr. Sophie Chand after she raised concerns about his charity. Now he's stepping onto a stage to speak about mental health in the workplace, and people are noticing that disconnect. Royal commentator Rob Shooter said it directly. This isn't a royal tour. They're arriving as private individuals while still benefiting from the attention and structure tied to their former roles. And then comes an even sharper perspective from royal historian Tim Hewitt. He pointed out something that changes how this entire trip is viewed. Australia wasn't just another stop on their past tour. It was one of the moments that reportedly exposed deeper tensions behind the scenes. Some even link that period as a key turning point that contributed to their eventual departure from royal life. And now, they're presenting this return as something positive, almost like a comeback story. But the history behind it, that tells a different version. And there's one detail from that 2018 trip that keeps resurfacing. According to reports, while standing near the Sydney Opera House, watching massive crowds gather, Meghan was overheard saying, "What are they all doing here? It's silly." That moment stands out, because back then, people showed up for free. They came out of respect, curiosity, tradition. Fast forward to now, and those same interactions come with a price tag. Thousands of dollars just to be in the same space. That contrast, it's hard to ignore. And now layer in the timing again. Tom Bower's book drops March 26th. They land in Australia just weeks later, mid-April. That means every journalist, every interviewer, every camera crew will have already gone through the book. Every question they face will be shaped by what's inside those pages. There's no buffer, no time for things to settle. And look at what already happened before the book even released. Before the statement, interest was there, but controlled. After the statement, it exploded, straight to #1 on Amazon before a single physical copy was even shipped. Across social media, the same pattern kept appearing. People saying they weren't planning to read it until they saw the reaction. That response pushed them to order it immediately. And major outlets didn't focus on the book itself. They focused on the reaction. People magazine, Daily Beast, AOL, IB Times, Parade, global coverage everywhere. And there's a name for exactly what happened here: the Streisand effect. When someone tries to shut something down and ends up making it even bigger. That's exactly how this played out. This wasn't a quiet situation that suddenly grew. It was pushed into the spotlight by the response itself. And here's the key detail: what people have seen so far. Those are just excerpts. The full book hasn't even been fully absorbed yet. The chapter's still coming. Those are the ones creating the real tension, because the reaction came early, before everything was even out. They saw part of it, responded fast, and in doing that, made sure everyone would pay attention. 7 years ago, Australia welcomed them with open arms. Now there's a petition trying to block public support for their visit. A book exposing their past is sitting at #1, before most people have even read it. Events priced at thousands, tied to appearances that were once free. Ongoing questions that still haven't been directly addressed, despite years of opportunity. And a past that keeps resurfacing, driven by someone they haven't taken to court, haven't stopped, and haven't been able to shut down. They tried to push back against Tom Bower, but what actually happened? They made sure the spotlight stayed exactly where it is. If you want more breakdowns like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in. I'll catch you in the next one.